morning, everybody. We'll get started.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Here.
Ms. Frenchco, Mr. Malloy.
Here. Okay, the, weekly workshop for, April 25th. We'll get started here. Number one, dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve the bills 1 and 2. Our, standard things are on file if anyone needs to look at them. Number 3, pursuant to revised code 570514, transfer monies that's submitted through the auditor's office for, sanitary engineers.
Commissioners, these three, there's actually a typo. The second one should be Fund 606, not 604. The first one for $74,000 and the third one for $3,477 are transfers from our Southeast Water District. Our Brookfield District pays the bills, and then 604 and 608 reimburse the fund. So that happens every month. And item number 2 is our monthly administrative fee from the Brookfield District.
Okay. Just a question, Paula. Like January, February, March, I never had any of these transfer money things on any agenda. Why are they on like every agenda now?
Because they were not against the temporary budget was, passed, and Ms. Christie is probably the.
That's correct. We can't transfer the money when we have a temporary budget. So when we pass the, permanent budget in March, you actually saw the January, February, and March transfers on at the end of March.
Okay.
They're approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And again, we will use this, work session also as a work session to work on, being prepared for our audio and, later, or video minutes. So if you're called on, or if you have some input, please just state your name again, or name and department if it's the first time you speak. That way we make sure we capture all this stuff. We don't want to be uncompliant or non-compliant by, the public not knowing who's doing the talking or whatever during, even a work session. So we'll just try to work on that a little bit to make sure things flow, and eventually we'll get the hang of it. Number 4, approve additional appropriations as submitted by Trumbull County Auditor's Office, Common Police Court, Board of DD, EMA, and Sheriff. Any input on any of those? Seeing no common pleas, no DD, no EMA present, and I don't believe you're up to speed on the sheriff part of it, right? No. No. Okay, we'll look into those. Number 5, transfer appropriations as submitted to Trumbull County Auditor's Office. Departments requesting transfer, sanitary engineer, community development, and the sheriff. $300,000, $1,900, and $1,000, and then $55. Sanitary engineer fund 488. What is that?
Commissioners Bob Meyer, NO Sanitary Engineers. That $300,000 was to get the ODOT Diverging Diamond project moving. So we needed to have the money for the fiscal officer's certificate.
Okay, thank you. Number 6, receive the amended certificate of the County Budget Commission, number 6, 2023, Board of DD, and Sheriff.
This is Christie with the auditor's office. Those two also, there were 2 of the additional appropriations. Board of DD has a new safety grant that they're putting on the revenue and the expense budget, this week. And then the sheriffs are budgeting for the federal fortress. Revenues and expenses is not originally budget in the 2020.
Thank you. Number 7, adopt a resolution to proclaim April 28th, 2023 as Workers' Memorial Day in Trumbull County, Ohio. This day is dedicated to honoring all the hardworking individuals who gave their service and their lives in order to provide a good standard of living for their families and communities. On this day, pay our respects to those who lost their lives on the job and recognize the impact these tragic losses have on families, co-workers, and communities. We also mark the rededication of this fight for safe and healthy workplace for all workers. Is that something, Alexandra, that we send out to department heads, anything additional we do besides just the resolution?
I would say it's just a resolution, and then we obviously, in the meeting, if you wanna invite, I think it would behoove us to invite people to families who, we have had county workers who passed, especially during COVID. It may be a good idea to reach out to those families and see if they wanna come be part of the meeting.
It is on for tomorrow. I don't know if that, you would have time to do so, but, we could, however you would wanna do it.
I guess if there's a way, even for tomorrow,
Yeah.
we could just find maybe even just a few names or whatever, and maybe we can just mention in discussion a little bit, some of the people, that would fit in this category that we lost.
I mean, I know in the past 2 years, we've lost quite a few county employees, whether it has been to, you know, illness, whatever the case may be.
Right.
It would behoove us to try to commemorate them in a
Right.
way through this. I think that would be very, very good.
If you can just come up with just basically some numbers or just a couple of examples maybe we can throw out there, so people get the gist of this a little bit, what it's all about. Because it is a bigger picture than just saying it today, hey, it's it's not a party day or anything like that, it's something that, maybe will drive the resolution home a little bit more. Paula?
I'll let the vote as clerk. We do have a resolution out on the signing table to be signed, to be framed, and it was requested, and I will mail a copy to request her. I forget exactly who it was, but hoping other communities adopt this as well, so.
Okay, and there's something I wanna bring up too regarding resolutions, Mara, while you're here. I got some counsel from, CCAO and from the, legal department. It was with the Attorney General's office and other outside consultation regarding resolutions. And the resolution, when we sign them, there's some question about, we can't sign them until after we make a resolution. We could sign anything we sign that way, it's just a piece of paper, it's just a document, it's just nothing until we pass it. Once we pass it, it becomes the official resolution, an official document of that sort. So if it's signed in advance or it's not, us attesting to that being our signature on the resolution, which we can clearly see that we signed it, we know that we signed it, that's kind of when it becomes the resolution. So whether you sign it before you vote on it, after you vote on it, doesn't matter. If we sign it before and the resolution doesn't pass, it's just a piece of paper that has no merit, that has no, journal entry or anything. So they said there was absolutely no problem signing something, framing it, and then passing the resolution, it being legitimate.
I'll vote as clerk. I just have a question. We do many resolutions that y'all don't even know about, like the Sports Hall of Fame. Staff will write maybe 15, 20, we have 20 under 20. Everything that we write is not journalized, not voted on. It's things the board has done for the last 19 years that I've been here for the board to support different organizations. We did the eviction center, we did that. It wasn't something that hasn't, that was voted on. So if you want me to put everything that we do, a handout on the agenda, I'd be happy to, if, however you want me to do it. But there are many, resolutions that aren't on the agenda, just as we did a lot more before.
I think it's reasonable when there's something ceremonial like that, or something that's not involving a dollar amount by the board or
Right.
anything like that, just some sort of recognition, that
Right.
we sign those ahead of time.
Right. Like the Tribune, Ms. Sue Schaefer's always enjoyed working with us. We've helped the Sports Hall of Fame, we've even went there to present them and help, but we've written several for them, and it's just something they asked our office to do. So if you guys, however you want us to do it, we'll do it. But we do a lot that aren't on the journal.
Okay.
It maybe don't have to necessarily do with the county, like Pinwheels is such an important thing for child abuse, so we read a resolution, we want the public to know that information, stuff, but we'll be happy to do whatever.
There's an opinion I'll have coming down to us too for next week on the difference in regards to sunshine laws, in regards to, Morrow, myself, and the other commissioner, talking amongst ourselves regarding administrative things. There's a lot of policy, there's a lot of case law, that there's a big difference between Morrow and I talking about something that's administration compared to something that's legislation or something that is, decision-making process. but they said as far as the administration of things, agendas of things, putting things on an agenda, things regarding, administration of the county duties, it'll be forthcoming from CCAO, and it'll be forthcoming also with legal opinion, that, things that I was not fully aware of, I guess, until I asked, of what other counties do, and that would be backed up all the way through court, and some of it, all the way to the state Supreme Court in regards to those types of things. Resolutions was one of the things that came up, talking about that, when you're gonna recognize, the public or something in the daily course of our duties. The other thing would be, well, we'll talk about the other stuff when the decision comes down, or when I have it in writing. But, those are some of the things, I guess, that I don't want anyone to be afraid, they can't talk to Mara, they can't talk to me. Mara and Denny are in the same room talking about something of some sort or whatever that may not have anything to do with anything on an agenda item or anything regarding a vote or anything like that, so.
Well, and commissioners, if I may interject real quick, that's what makes us this is what makes it hard for us to plan for things like this, because we obviously didn't wanna have the conversations, and not that I'm saying we violated sunshine or believe that we were violating sunshine. But, to get approval on these things, we have to have conversations, right? And we have to know what the commissioners' ideas are and who they want at the table and so on and so forth, and we have to wait until the day of to do that. And it makes it very difficult for us to do administrative, just things that should be everyday decisions.
Morrow, Campbell, and Mesa, Trumbull County, there has to be a reasonableness and practicality to, I'm not saying we don't adhere to sunshine, we adhere to it stringently. But when it comes to administrative matters, like I've been saying for the past year, there has to be some reasonable practicality when it comes to governing on a day-to-day basis. There just has to be. And I think any reasonable court or attorney would verify that, whether it be the Attorney General or our prosecutor's office or anybody else. So, this sort of hyper-technical, everything is a sunshine law violation, only just, it slows us down and it makes us spin our wheels. We're not getting anything done, everybody's afraid to act. That's not what we're here to do, in my opinion.
And I feel pretty good, I had probably an hour-long conversation yesterday with, County Commissioner Association of Ohio, and the gentleman I talked to has been there forever, and former county commissioner himself, and he kinda laughed when I brought some of the questions up. He's like, yeah, I listen to the meetings, I see what's going on up there. He said, as a matter of fact, we talked about some other different things where, through talking to them, through talking to various people in the department there, even on the minutes, it was told to me, he said, there's some counties that will have an hour-long meeting and their minutes are on one piece of loose leaf paper written in pen, and there's no issue with that. That when they get the main meat and potatoes of what's on there, and some of it has been challenged before, there'll be challenges again in the future, but, I think after having that conversation and reaching out to other counties, what we do is above and beyond what many, many, many other counties do, with and without administrators. So that was something that, I was happy to hear that, and I was happy to get the advice, and, I'll have some stuff, like I said, I'll have some more things in writing in particular cases that were challenged in particular things that we don't need to be a lawyer here or anything like that, but common sense has to prevail somewhere to make sure that we don't hesitate in doing our jobs for fear of retribution or fear of anything like that. We just gotta keep moving forward, as I state in every meeting. Okay, number 8, concur with Trumbull County Engineer grant right-of-way permits, oral polling.
Okay, Commissioners, this is Steve Gerberry, Trumbull County Engineer's Office. These next 3 are just, right-of-way permits. Oral Poland was putting a ditch pipe in his frontage ditch. A&A Construction, they're building a home in Howland Township, so there's a driveway access for that home. In Utility Contracting, they were installing a sanitary sewer lateral in Liberty Township.
Concur with Trumbull County Engineer grant special hauling permits to move overweight equipment over Trumbull County roadways. Pioneer Heavy Haul, Diamond Steel.
Okay, it's, Steve Gerber again from the Engineer's Office. Pioneer Heavy Haul had 3 permits this week. They actually had one a few weeks ago, and, that'll wrap up their job. They were moving some, overweight steel beams out of, Warren Fab up to the docks on Lake Erie, actually to put them on a barge to ship them over to Canada. And then Diamond Steel, they have cranes, and I think they were bringing the crane to, St. Joseph's Hospital. So they traveled over East Market Street, which is a county route from the bypass to the city limits.
All right, number 10, haul steel coils, Gero Transportation. They're busy bees here in Trumbull County, apparently.
Yeah, this is Steve again from the engineer's office. Gero has a large fleet of trucks that haul steel coils, so their trucks come up, different times throughout the year. That it's an annual permit for them, so when it expires, they apply for another permit. And there's actually 3 permits on here for Gero this time.
And they concur with Trumbull County Engineer to grant special annual supplier fleet permit for aggregate Dawn Green Trucking and Geauga Concrete.
That's Steve again from the engineer's office. These are annual supplier permits. It's an annual permit, so these 2 companies, their current permit expired, and they're asking to be renewed for the next 365 days.
All right, grant permission to close the road, Ridge Road, from, May 1st to May 5th, the intersection of State Route 5 and 88. Replace the culvert.
Right, it's Steve from the engineers again. This motion just says what it is. They're replacing a culvert. They need the road to be closed for a week.
13, establish the creation of Trumbull County Adult Probation Department Targeted Community Alternatives to Prison Grant, known as TCAP Grant Fund Number 143, for use by the Trumbull County Adult Probation Department. From
We're just creating a fund for their, and the auditor's office will, approve that and create the fund, and the number will be there for the adult program.
This is Christy from the auditor's office, and adult probation isn't here, but I did talk to Teresa Greathouse the other day, and they're having, the state is changing some of their grant, structure. So at this time, they have 3 grants that are being combined into one, and then they're getting another 2 grants. Closing some funds that they're not using, and creating one.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Paula. Number 14, concur with the Trumbull County Planning Commission and execute a letter of support for Valley Economic Development Partners application to the Minority Business Development Center to expand as a Tier 1 Minority Business Assistance Center in the Mahoning Valley. Nick?
Nick Coggins with the Trumbull County Planning Commission. So this is an application that Valley Economic Development Partners is putting in to the, Minority Business Development Center. They currently offer, SBA loans, Regional 166 loans. They manage the, Cares for Trumbull grant program and the revolving loan fund, which, established the ARPA funds. They're one of our local economic development partners and do, amazing with all of our small businesses. Anybody that's starting out that has trouble funding, this is the place we send them. They do all of our little mini projects that are really the most sustainable growth for economic, jobs. And so they are in a position that they want to expand to a larger minority business assistance. So this is a letter of support telling that the state and the federal government, we are in full support of everything. Hope that they get this.
Mario Campbell Mesa, Trumbull County. I'd just like to say, over the course of establishing the Cares for Trumbull program, which we've assisted over 200 small businesses in Trumbull County, and the revolving loan fund that we've put together as well through them, is now, that's completely being used, right? It's completely.
Yeah, all funds are expended right now.
All funds are expended. It's been a joy to work with them. It's been a success for Trumbull County, especially during these uncertain economic times for small business. And as Nick mentioned, small business is the lifeblood to a very successful local economy. So, wish them well, and I support that letter of support for sure.
Paula?
Paula Voda, clerk, the letter is written, and, Mr. Coggins asked if after you adjourn tomorrow's meeting, if the board would sign the letter so he can have it, because he's in a hurry for it, but it'll be ready, and as soon as the meeting adjourns tomorrow, if you guys could just sign it for us.
At that point, the application is due Thursday. So they need their letter of support with their application, so, that is why the request is to pass, that everybody execute, to be included in their application.
Okay, we can do that, Nick, thank you. Number 15, rescind the personnel tax action taken by the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners on March 15th, recorded in Journal 156-25535 for the employment of Mr. Robert Gilmer for the position of custodian with the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. This is being rescinded since he has not showed up for work, and he is unsure if he will be able to work. Is this the one we had regarding someone was on leave or whatever, transferred from one department to another? Is that something different?
That would be something different.
Okay.
This gentleman, we hired as a custodian on afternoon turn. When the Friday before his start date, he called me up and said he was sick and asked if he could delay his start date. And I said, sure, no problem. We didn't want anyone who was sick to have to come to work. I said, do you want to start Tuesday or Wednesday? He said, oh, can it be the following Monday? And sure. The following Friday, he called me again and said, can he delay his start date again? Still sick. At that point, I had talked to Alex a little bit, and we granted him another week. The following Friday, he called again and said, oh, can we delay my start date again? And I said, well, we're kind of running out of time. You need to start. And then he said, oh, okay, you can just take whoever you had behind me. Said he wasn't interested.
All right.
So we've since posted the job back up again.
We still,
Sorry, again.
looking at the applicants that were behind him as well, as
So-
considering them?
We had 3 applicants that we interviewed and scored. The third one wouldn't be hired, due to a concern on the background check. The second one, I had called, left a message, never got a call back. So we're basically
So we have to start all over again.
starting.
Number 16, authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to execute the memorandum of understanding between Trumbull County, Ohio Means Jobs Partners, the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, and Workforce Development Board of Trumbull. The MOU is for the period commencing July 1st through June 30, 2025. The memorandum of understanding reflects the cost sharing for infrastructure and operational costs negotiated by the partners based upon the space uses in Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services. Action for recommendation of Bim Turner, Executive Director, Workforce Development Board.
Yeah, Bim Turner, Workforce Development Board. This is, a document we have to, sometimes it's 1 year, sometimes it's 2 years. We're trying now to do every 2 years, and it is just cost sharing of all our partners, to belong to the One Stop, our OMJ Center. And, the document entails how we derived at everything and what the costs are, so. It's like a membership fee.
Okay. And then last time we did this was a few years ago,
It was a year ago.
a year ago?
Yeah, because we had to do a 1 year so we could get back on a 2-year cycle, because the state needed time to catch up.
17, authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to execute the midterm 4-year regional updated plan created by the East Ohio Workforce Development Region. Updated plan is a collaborative endeavor by and amongst Columbiana, Mahoning, Stark, Trumbull, and Tusk through their respective workforce development boards to maximize and coordinate workforce innovation and Opportunity Act resources with state and local programs to enhance services, job seekers, and employers of the region. The updated plan was posted for public comment for 30 days. The 4-year regional plan and midterm update is required by the state of Ohio, again, upon recommendation of Bim Turner.
Bim Turner, Workforce Development Board, once again. As it states, this is a 4-year plan that we have to write, and entails how we're going to deal with, this particular iteration, how we, dealt with how COVID, affected us, what job growth, what we see as job growth, how we're, partnerships that we're forming, outside money that we're pursuing, and, delineates all that. And this was written between 5 counties, so this is just quite a, got a region that goes from Canton to Warren.
That's kind of a weird region. That's the first time I've ever seen us including a region that goes to the top.
Yeah.
Kind of a
It's kind of
southern
different,
belt.
but I'm glad we got in that region, because we had worked with, Stark and Tusk before, so that worked out well.
Very good. And, you're the man of the hour, to concur with the Workforce Development Board of Trumbull County and adopt a resolution proclaiming the week of May 1st through May 5th In-Demand Jobs Week.
Okay, yes, next week will be In-Demand Jobs Week, where we're trying to promote, statewide jobs that are in demand, occupations that are in demand, occupations you should prepare for, avenues to take, would be a pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship, classroom training, experience, stackable certificate, whatever, just promoting the idea that, yeah, there are all jobs are in demand right now, as my colleague could say, yeah. And, but these are trying to predict the jobs that'll be in demand, based on, emerging things, like we have, a lot of logistics, in the, emerging in the area. We have what's going on out in Lordstown, what's developing, those kinds of occupations. So just kind of alerting everybody to that fact.
To authorize the purchase of 3 2022 Chevy Silverado 1500 pickup trucks from so shown, Randolph, Ohio, for the use of the Trumbull County Maintenance Department, in a total amount of $123,499, be paid for from fund number 943-130-1100-1-505410 Casino Fund. This action is for the recommendation of the Building and Maintenance Operations Manager. This purchase is exempt from competitive bidding pursuant to RC 125.04. These vehicles are purchased upon equivalent terms, conditions, and specs, but at a lower price than through the Ohio DAS purchasing contracts. These vehicles replace the 3 oldest vehicles in the maintenance department, 2 2003 vehicles and 1 2004 vehicle. Bill?
Commissioner, Bill, maintenance, yes, these vehicles are desperately needed. Actually, one of the O3s just went down, it's a military vehicle, completely on his military vehicles. So in my research and my due diligence, February, I've been trying to secure 3 trucks. So I hope.
So Bill, much has been made about, bidding and all that. How is this exempt from the bidding process?
Because I actually reached out to the state purchasing agent. There is a dealer on the other side of Akron who quoted me a 2023 vehicle, a work truck vehicle, $3,000 compared to what I could get 3 for at $129,000. So the comparison is they cannot get me anything 2022. Nobody has them. I find and call and search. Those 22s are available.
At the end of the day, how much savings per vehicle?
Oh.
If we were to go to state purchasing, it'd be
Oh, no, more than that, 60,000 apiece.
60,000 apiece for each truck.
So we're saving about $60,000.
We're gonna be saving for 60,000. I ain't down,
Starstone has these,
they have them.
ready to go, no,
Didn't,
well, we missed the deal, we missed the window, retract, rescind item number 19 and
not gonna happen.
redo all over again, so this is,
Gonna
Been in
lose
contact with them
$60,000.
since February, yes, so.
right, and has this been run by the prosecutor's office
Yes, it
yet?
has.
You got any letter or any,
I
Thing
gave
in
you a
writing?
letter last week. I will make you another copy if you need to by tomorrow. I'll get that to you too as well. But the packet that I have, I can make a copy of the packet, which is,
3/4 of an inch thick?
yeah, I'll give it to you as well.
That's fine, I think.
Yeah, just have it on file in case needed, and have that, prosecutor's opinion right on top. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, if you've been running something in the county, you know, going on 20 years, 21 years, it's definitely time, I would imagine, today's day and age, not too many people keep vehicles that long, no matter what. All right, number 20, enter in sales and service agreement with ComDoc for the use of Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services. The sales and service with document management agreement provides copy machine equipment, including services and supplies, with designated volume and contracted rates for black and white and color impressions. Cost $201,000 to be paid in monthly increments, invoiced at $31.92 per month, paid by shared cost pool. Term of this agreement is 63 months, commencing on the delivery date of the equipment. Absolutely no general revenue funds are requested. And
Yes, John Gargano, Job and Family Services. 20 and 21 go together, Commissioners. The first one is to obtain new copiers for JFS and CSEA. We were in a lease agreement for a period of time with ComDoc, and the copiers are now outdated. So we went out and looked at state purchasing through that organization. However, we're also part of Equalus, which is a cooperative purchasing group in Ohio. And we looked at ComDoc through the state purchasing and then also through Equalus. And actually, it was much cheaper through Equalus. It saves us that invoice of $3,192 a month was decreased by $1,300 plus some change through Equalus, through this cooperative agreement. So we're going through them also, so you know. I put this through Mr. Danzo. I talked to him yesterday. He sent a email to Paula, myself, and Melissa saying pursuant to section 9.48 that we're permitted to do this as long as it's an organization of political subdivisions, and also to go into it if the purchase of those supplies or services from the other party are equivalent to the terms and conditions specified, but at a lower price. And these were at a lower price, so we're going to go through Equalus for the copiers for CSEA and JFS. And number 21 goes with number 20, and that's the purchase of those services, and also replacement of drums and things of that nature that need to be taken care of, and that's in the amount of $36,756 for those services and supplies. And that's again through Equalus, which saves us more money than through state purchasing.
very good. 22, approve a biennial revision of the Trumbull County Prevention, Retention, and Contingency Plan effective April 1. This is action per recommendation of Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services. And revisions are pre-employment youth program, youth work experience program, youth work experience participation incentive. Can you give us a little?
Yes, Commissioner. Again, John Gargano. We look at this annually. This is a prevention, retention, contingency plan that we have in place at Job and Family Services to assist our clients. And we looked at the revisions that needed to be taken care of for the low-income youths that we're going to employ. Prior, it was a different program years ago, but the state has changed it, has made it more, how do I want to say it? It's more looked at closer, and we just don't hire. They have to be put into a program and then followed through the year by the caseworkers. So we had to make some changes in it, and the pre-employment youth program, that was removed to just say TANF Youth Work Experience Program. It's a program that allows youth 16 to 24 to get job readiness, work experience, and then there is a incentive for those individuals that participate in the TANF Youth Work Experience. based upon their incentives, based upon the percentage of the scheduled hours they complete in a four-week intervals, and the maximum benefit to them could be up to $1,000. And this was also, so I didn't mean to, stop you, but we have a planning committee board that this was brought before, and they approved it, and that committee is made up of, basically social services agencies, CSB, April Caraway, Ed Stark, Someplace Safe, and we also have a, Reverend Black that is on that board. I think I may have missed one or two, but I just can't remember them all. Tim Schaffner. Robin, Wilson from FCFC.
Bonnie Wilson.
Bonnie Wilson.
Okay, very good, thank you, John.
Mhm.
23, receive the request from Attorney Nils Peter Johnson, agent for the petitioner, requesting withdrawal of the petition for the annexation of approximately 31 acres of land located in Howland and Vienna Townships to the city of Niles, filed with the Board of Commissioners on February 27th. Paula, Clerk.
Clerk, Paula Voda-Klotz, attorney, Nils Johnson, did file to withdraw, said petition for this annexation. When this motion is accepted and passed by the board tomorrow, I will send out notice to, make this official. His letter did state he does, intend to refile. He has to do it, 'cause everything is statutory, it has to be so many days. So I believe the tentative date in June, but I don't want to say that date until he actually does. So he did, file this, that will be voted on tomorrow, and then his intent is to refile this, on behalf of the petitioner. Thank you.
Okay, number 24, concur with Trumbull County Sheriff's Office entering the following service agreement with Security Automation Systems. Continue warranty for the purchase equipment as part of the security upgrade in 2020. The warranties and licensing have expired this year and need to be renewed. The total amount paid is $46,000 from funds determined. The three quotes are listed: to your labor service agreement, video maintenance system, software services support plan.
Captain Dan Lester with the Sheriff's Office. In 2020, we began a $4 million security upgrade. It was 6 years in the making. With the upgrade came some licensing and service agreements, maintenance on the equipment that was installed. We were under the impression these were good for 5 years, and found out they were good for 2 years. So we had to scramble to get this on to maintain the security software, licensing, all these things that come a massive security upgrade project such as that. They were not budgeted for, that's why we're here for the funds.
Paula?
Paula Voda-Klotz, clerk. There is a question of who will pay for this. There'll probably be 3 separate purchase orders, but the total amount is $46,684, whether it be the sheriff's department, if the board.
I'm sorry, can you say it again, Paul?
Yes, the total amount, is
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry.
$46,684, and this will be done in 3 separate purchase orders. But the question here is, I need a fund number, so it would determine if, Ms. Salteric is here to get information, if you, board would pay for this amount. Mr. Lester's here. We need to know, how this would be funded. So, Christie would have to know where to find the funds if you want, the board wishes to pay for this.
This wasn't budgeted in the sheriff's department before, this is an additional funds, additional
New
$46,000.
information, yeah. If we would have known, obviously, we would have budgeted for these items, but we didn't. Like I said, it came with a 2-year agreement that expired in March. Found out about a week before that they expired, that they were going to expire, so I'm trying to figure out how we were gonna get this done. Obviously, it's extremely important, it's vital for the equipment, it just literally isn't gonna work without it. Not to mention the licensing that goes with it.
I agree it's important. My only concern, Mauro, is, when Auditor Viviano left, he warned us before he left, we could potentially have a $3 million shortfall in the sheriff's department this year, based on their budgeting. This is in addition to that, and I would ask somehow we want you to have everything you need, but if you can please get with the sheriff or maybe think of some ways with things like this where we can start to meet in the middle on some of these things. Maybe there's some services that are non-essential, non-safety related, that maybe where the sheriff can give a little back, because I hate to just keep throwing money. We wanna make sure everything's there, but eventually, there's gonna be questions asked, and people are gonna be questioning the budgeting strategy and the budgeting process in regards to that. And I know those questions will come up, so then just trying to be prepared for that, I would just ask that going forward, maybe we need a meeting, or maybe we need something to figure out where we can cut out, maybe one less vehicle or one less something or whatever that was already budgeted to try to meet the commissioners halfway a little bit on the budget, if that is the case, if it is the case. And this shows signs that may be the case somewhat.
Paula Bodecott, and it just didn't come with a fund number. I don't want to assume that, when Major Mason sent it to me, that he wasn't prepared to pay for it. So we should, maybe you could ask him, Mr. Lester, if they have a fund, like, if you have
We already had that discussion.
No, okay, just asking. I just wanted to be clear. I didn't wanna assume that he wasn't. So we
Yeah,
basically, would just need to know funding, probably by tomorrow.
Christie, would this come out of sales tax?
That depends on if the commissioners are paying for it, it would come out of 928. If the sheriff's office is paying for it, it'd be, an 001.
Look into that?
Well, that was, there's money in me to pay it, that's the way the commissioners, so,
Okay.
and if you want, the difference would be, like, if you're paying out of 928 and the commissioners, it would show as a commissioner's department, so you're taking that, like, general fund still is run by the commissioners, but it would show as the sheriff's department fund, 1,400. 1,000.
Okay.
I think I would
For
rather,
financial statement purposes.
if we could, I think I'd rather take out of that fund, Sheriff's Department fund, and then readdress these issues like I talked about.
Sure.
Maybe adjust that fund towards the middle or end of the year.
That's probably.
And then, if we ran short, if we are gonna run short, as Auditor Viviano warned us, then it could be added on to whatever we do at the end to make up the shortfall there in the end. But to take out of now and then take out of later, I'd rather group that all together, and when we run out, or we start to run out, we address it all as one big package or one big thing. I'd feel a little more comfortable. But just to make sure they're funded now, if their money can come out of that, that's what I would prefer, I guess.
Okay, that's fair enough. I do have a question, though, on the procurement. Are these bid out separately, or are these just quotes, or are they?
It's proprietary equipment.
It's proprietary,
Yeah.
so you don't have to, whoever, sole source you go with, that,
Right, they're the vendor.
do we have an
they're the
opinion on that for
installer.
sure, or?
Yeah.
Okay. That's something that I'm sure will be brought up. Ian, can you share that opinion with us?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
You okay with that then?
Yeah. Thank you.
We wanna comply, we just wanna make sure there's a bigger picture here with all this, and we wanna help through the process. There were some mistakes made, and I've already talked to the sheriff regarding some of the budgeting things or whatever, and we wanna work with him to make sure this all works out for everybody. And I think it'd just be easier to use the money you got now, use your savings or whatever, and then, as we tighten the belt up through the next couple of months to try to make some of that back or save some of it back, then it may not be an issue come the end of the year.
Yeah, we'll have to budget for this, for the life of the equipment, for the next 20-plus years, going forward, obviously.
Right.
Is that not spelled out in the contract?
No, we hired a security consultant who hired,
I remember.
a contractor who hired 4 subcontractors, and a lot gets lost in the shuffle with such a massive project such as that. And, I wish we were real clear on exactly what it had to be, because, we actually already incurred a bill, because this equipment took so long to install, and it was such a big project that they're still piecing it together now as we speak, 2 years later. And like I said, we just incurred a bill for some phone time tech stuff, just to square away some cameras that weren't working right, and that'll be without this agreement.
Okay, so we'll get you the money that way, and we'll just, Christie, if you can look at that 001, if that's cool with you.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you. Believe it or not, that concludes that part of the business. I had a couple things I wanted to bring up. We do have a meeting here today at 1:30 for ARPA funds. We have one tomorrow at 6 PM at the Ag Center. It sounds like it's gonna be highly attended. I've got a lot of phone calls. I don't know if you did more or not, but I had a lot of people reach out and ask what time, can they come to both? What should they bring, what do they need? So I have a feeling this room's gonna be packed, and I hope it is. And this is something we need to do. It's something that's gonna be a lot of work for us the next couple of days, all three of us, and, but the people's money, we gotta do the best thing we can to get it out to them so they can get the money in place. It's doing no good sitting in a fund doing nothing right now. Secondly, I attended a meeting last week. I got requested to go to a meeting in Howland. We're all familiar that we got a Bass Pro Shop coming here to Howland, and their zoning board denied the signage for Bass Pro Shop in Howland. And Bass Pro Shop basically said, we're Bass Pro Shop, communities beg us to come to their town, we're gonna rain a lot of money down on your community, and, we are who we are. Our Conic brand is our brand. So went to the zoning appeals board last week, so I attended that, on behalf of the community, on behalf of, as a citizen, representing sportsmen for Bass Pro, and as a commissioner, as far as partnership with the new incoming business. They also had one of their architects from, Springfield, Missouri, and they had the owners of the property, and, testified in front of the zoning appeals board. They ended up supporting it, but if had this not gone through, there was a possibility Bass Pro Shop would have moved on to another community if they couldn't have had their way. There's kind of no bigger retail icon than Bass Pro, and with the $40 to $60 million they're gonna bring in a year into this community and the millions of people that will attend that place, it would have been a travesty to lose that. So that was something that the media didn't cover or anything like that, but it was a very, very crucial meeting. One thing I did learn, Mr. Keating from the appeals board ran the meeting there, and, I've never seen a finer run meeting anywhere as far as the way he adhered to the rules, Robert's Rules of Orders, and he conducted the meeting. So for a voluntary appeals board, it was something to see the way they ran the meeting, conducted it with all the members there. There were 5 people there, including a court stenographer that they have that does their minutes. And, I was happy that they voted in favor of allowing Bass Pro Shop to get a variance as far as the amount of signage they put on their building. It's something that, is gonna enhance that area, it's gonna bring tourism here, it's gonna bring sales tax dollars far beyond what we probably get with most every other retailer in the county, which we're all gonna benefit from. So I just wanna bring that out publicly here, that thank you to them for being open-minded and thinking about our community first and not their zoning rules. Yeah, and the last thing I have is, I've got a conflict next week where I cannot be here next week. And I don't know what your schedule is tomorrow, or I haven't talked to Commissioner Frenchco either, but, as far as conducting meeting and workshop, that type of stuff, I just wanna put it out there that I will not be available Tuesday, Wednesday. I will be back Thursday, but, I don't wanna go through the whole process of delaying moving meetings. I called CCAO yesterday. They said as long as we had 50 meetings a year, we're good. They said with these workshops, we're gonna be far beyond our number of 50 meetings that we have a year that we're supposed to have. And, so that's, I don't know how you guys have handled that in the past. It's the first time I've dealt with it. I know other commissioners have not been here, and I remember in past years, a few weeks where there weren't meetings. So, and I know you've got some conflicts, that I understand coming up through the summer, so, I'll throw it out there for what you think with that.
Also, Commissioner, I attended a meeting at Eastgate that was, very productive, and I think Nick was there after I was there. It was the elected officials portion of it, but it was, discussing broadband and Broadband Ohio with the state, and, Ashtabula County was there, Trumbull County was represented, obviously, a lot of different communities are represented. It was just basically a panel discussion. There's gonna be, and there already is, a lot of money available through the state, grants and whatnot, that we can expand, broadband and fiber throughout Trumbull County. we talked about, Trumbull County has very large swaths of land that are unserved or underserved, when it comes to broadband and wireless. We have other portions of land that are quote unquote served by broadband, but there's hiccup when it comes to the affordability of it. We have an issue with digital literacy when it comes to, we have an aging population, number one, and we have a lot of elderly people that are relying on their children and grandchildren to be able to connect and to get access that way. So we have a lot to do in that way. There are gonna be funds available. We wanna position Trumbull County so that we will, be at the forefront of that. I think our planning commission has done a stellar job, as being one of the first to do a broadband feasibility study in the state, and has really positioned us well. I know that ARPA money will come into play. I'm willing to commit some of that money to some of this because this is the future. We talk about infrastructure and, the need for water and sewer and the need for different things, but this is gonna be the new utility that is gonna be absolutely necessary, not only for economic development, but for just, everyday life and school and everything else. So, it's something that we're committed to in Trumbull County. I like that we were very well represented there. I just wanted to give a little update that, there's gonna be funds available, and the state is hearing the needs of Trumbull County, and they've been very responsive. They're gonna cater some of these grants to the needs of the local communities, which is wonderful, and we had our say at the table. So, Nick, I wanna thank you for the invite. It was very informative. Did you wanna add anything on your part as well?
Well, I think you covered it pretty well. It is definitely, gonna be something that's needed in the future. And I think, with COVID and lots of lockdowns and shutdowns, it exacerbated that problem where you had kids driving to the local public library that was closed and couldn't even get in so they could sit in the parking lot just do the. It's something, when we started that feasibility study, we didn't think they would ramp up this quickly, but there's a lot of funds available. We're working closely with Eastgate, Ashtabula County, Mahoning County in partnership that we did the feasibility. We're working with them to move things forward, so we currently have an ARC grant that partners Warren, Weathersfield, Howland, and Niles to, look at, engineering to install some fiber locally. Eastgate is looking at, they're actually going through an engineering study to see what it would take to put what we're calling a backbone, which is the main line of fiber up Route 11, from lake to river. And they were actually invited to partner with Broadband Ohio, which is the largest, broadband organization in the state, to, submit an NTIA grant to actually install that backbone fiber. So that feasibility study has positioned us really well to keep moving. There is still quite a bit of work to go, and it's an everyday thing where, we're working closely with the prosecutor's office right now to try to comply with the Ohio Revised Code and also comply with some of the federal funding available to get, wireless deployment in our unserved areas. That is an ongoing process.
And especially, Nick, thank you. We had a nice conversation, the commissioner from, Ducro, from, Ashtabula and myself, about some of that. There's always, when it comes to broadband, there's always this notion of fiber. You gotta put the fiber in the ground. That's very costly and very expensive, but wireless and towers work as well, and that might be the best thing to do, especially in these sparse northern township communities. And the notion that, if Ashtabula is putting up a tower on the border somewhere, it can serve Trumbull County and vice versa. We can work together to regionalize some of this stuff. It's not, I know fiber is like the way of the future, I guess, but for some of these, northern townships, that wouldn't be feasible to run a line down a road where you got, 2 Amish homes and 3 other homes. I mean, it just wouldn't be affordable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you look at those large chunks of land, coordinating with Ashtabula County on some of that is gonna be key, because we can really help each other, so. The same goes for the surrounding counties. It just, Ashtabula was well represented there.
Okay, anything from the floor, any of our department heads or any of our staff? Alexandra?
I have kind of a lot, I'm sorry. I was gonna let everybody else go first. Alexandra, Genesee Bush, Human Resources Department. I'm asking commissioners that you guys help promote, our Bureau of Workman's Comp training on May 18th. And I'm asking that all department heads please do try to come and or have somebody from your Human Resources, if you have somebody in there, or administrative, you know, staff, whoever you may have. Trumbull County's done a really good job with lowering our workman's comp claims. So we do a monthly meeting, we go over every single open claim, every department that it's in, and we're consistently looking to mitigate risk as well as, you know, workman's comp claims. We've done a fabulous job, and I wanna make sure that we continue to follow down that path. So our, MCO, which is Minutemen, and then our TPA, which is Sedgwick, we had a meeting with them last week, and they asked if we would be willing to have them come in and help just kind of retrain on workman's comp forms, what they need for the claims, taking good pictures, documenting, and I said, absolutely. So we're gonna host them here in the commissioners' meeting room. We've scheduled that for May 18th, and I'm just asking that everybody please attend. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to get on the same page for our department. You want copies of these?
Please, we can spread the word as well to the departments we need to.
That one for each. I think I emailed it to all of you too, but
Okay.
just in case. No problem. All right, so then, sorry, I think my very first meeting here, I had spoken about trying to, asking that the commissioners help make Trumbull County a employer of choice. So by doing that, I obviously came from Job and Family Services, so I knew of some programs that were available out there to us from an employment standpoint. I set up a meeting with, there's an $18.8 million grant with, it's called Retain Ohio. So what it is that for people who have not been injured at work, so it's for people who've had cardiac arrest outside of work. They've had a knee injury, they've had a shoulder injury, they've had whatever the case may be, and they're having a hard time getting back either employed or having a hard time doing their current job. They're not on our workman's comp, but they're struggling, whatever the case may be, with whatever illness or injury they have. This also includes mental health illness, which is great. So it's at no cost to us. What we would do is partner with Mercy Health and the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. It is literally just an agreement that we would offer to our employees, a way for them to get better. So Mercy Health will one-on-one work with them. We would just, you know, basically say, hey, this is an option. We send them to Mercy Health, they get the therapy they need, they get whatever they need, which is covered by our insurance, of course. And it's just helping give something that can make us a provider, or an employer of choice, excuse me. I have a packet here for all of you, and I was amazed to see how many people have already enrolled in the program. So, for example, education-wise, almost all the school districts, Hubbard, Lakeview, Lordstown, government, Braceville Township, City of Campbell, City of Portland, City of Girard. So what I'm seeing is that everybody else but Trumbull County, like actual employment-wise, has enrolled in this, and I'm thinking, why haven't we done this? So I have these here for you guys, you can look through them. I also sent off for a prosecutor's opinion, because obviously, it's not a contract. It literally states participation, is for the best practice created by Retain program, however, this is not a binding agreement, but I did send this to Bill Danzo to ask. So once he gives me an opinion on that, I think that it's something that Human Resources Department would love to offer to all of our employees, if they need it.
I did attend a presentation at the Township Association meeting a few months back regarding this, and I was impressed also with the other people that were involved.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing.
I had the same question, why weren't we, why didn't we get involved in this? So,
Well, lucky for you, I had a meeting last week, and I'm trying to get us involved in this, so.
perfect. Yeah, I definitely support this.
Wonderful. Just so you know too, obviously it helps us retain employees that, you know, may potentially be looking to go on long-term disability or, you know, unfortunately get hurt. So we can hopefully stop that and get them the therapy they need. Also, of course, whenever you lose an employee, it costs us a lot of money to hire a new employee, train a new employee. So the goal is to retain employees with non-work related injuries. And this program seems like it would be a very good thing for that.
What's the status with the 911 director? I know we lost 2 more employees at 911 over the weekend, and.
So we did put in those resignations, which is something I wanted to bring up. They would really be on the meeting next week, so just be aware that, you know, obviously that would push us back a week, which is okay. But we lost 2 more part-time employees at 911.
Do you need that to be on there tomorrow?
I mean, we sent it over yesterday. If we can add it on for tomorrow, that would be fabulous. Everything's done. It's just that we submitted it after the cutoff.
Is that a possibility,
So it's
Paul?
always a
Being there, I won't be in there, so
No problem.
Thank you,
let's do it
Paul.
for tomorrow then.
That's wonderful. Yeah, we lost two, our part-time employees at 911. One is for a good reason, I have to say. His goal was to be a policeman, and Niles to be hired him on full-time, so I get it. The other one was, an employee that we did our due diligence to help. The employee was on paid administrative leave, and she just decided that she doesn't wanna come back, so there's that. As far as 911 goes, obviously they're short-staffed. Patty and I are in constant communication. She's not here today. She actually called and said, you know, I have interviews set up. I said, that's priority. We need to get them fully staffed. We just had somebody last week that we hired, but that's only barely replacing the two part-time employees that just left. So huge retention issue going on there. And I do believe a lot of it is attributed to the fact that they don't have a permanent director. So that's been a goal of mine. I did 3 interviews on Monday, and I have 6 interviews with the whole panel on Thursday. And I've gotten some really good feedback about some of the applicants that we have on Thursday, just from doing some background checks myself. And Sheriff Monroe, thanks to him, called me this morning and had told me that a sheriff elsewhere spoke very highly of one of the applicants. So we're doing our due diligence to make sure that we're getting the right person quickly. So by the end of the week, I'll have everybody ranked and scored. I already have the grids done. As we do the interviews, I rank them and score them. And we will hopefully get you guys and Commissioner Frenchco a list of all 3 applicants that we think you should go forward and interview. And I would ask at that point that you do that exponentially, please, and thank you. Or if you don't want to interview them, just let me know, so we're not waiting, if you trust us, that's great. If not, that's great too. But we would like to get this wrapped up.
That's what we,
Yeah.
And we had, did have one of our higher ranking people in our top 5 did withdraw his application.
Yes.
And felt the, compensation package offsets the obstacles he'd encounter, with one of the commissioners.
Yes, and he actually stated that to myself, on the phone as well.
He'd be happy to serve the community, but he couldn't see himself overcoming the obstacle we have, so.
Yes, and he wishes us luck, and he wishes Trumbull County luck, which I thought was,
But just for the record, it is good that,
yeah.
that was stated there publicly, that's
Correct.
his reasoning in that. We dealt with this huge divorce before we were trying to hire HR. And now
on
we got
multiple occasions.
one victim here and that, so hopefully.
We actually had
spread
2. The other one was another employee beforehand that I had called out and reached out to. He was an MPA, he had an MBA, so he had both a master's in public administration and business administration. Trumbull County resident, and he said, I'm just not willing to put up, he didn't cite a specific commissioner, he said flat out, I'm just not willing to put up with it. But that he wished Trumbull County luck. So that is very defeating. We have a lot of people out there in the community that obviously would be a huge benefit to Trumbull County and our staff. And I hope that we can kind of right that wrong and steer that ship in a different direction going forward.
Good way. Anybody else have anything? Yes, Bill?
I do wanna add, Bill Hart, Trumbull County Maintenance, the annex building roof was done, it's finished. Projects from the fairgrounds that is completed. I am meeting with Mr. Swinsky by midweek, and, the cricket lot and the 4 horse getting them ready to go out for bid. So
Did they fix both roofs? Did they fix?
The flower barn roof?
Yeah.
No, not yet, I'm still waiting on the adjuster to. Yeah, that's on the insurance rate. So we're gonna go out for bid, hopefully, get all those other 2 major projects besides the 4-H building and the bathrooms on the commercial building. Lot and the 4 horse barn. Pushing to get that done.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I did notice also the divider is up again. And I see you have a divider on your side, you must have requested that through there, but I'm in support of having dividers up there for various reasons. I do want you to take a good look at it though, to make sure, when I looked at it a little bit, I wanna make sure it's clearly on my side of the line as far as, thing. I just wanna make sure that
And more,
she has
Commissioner
plenty of space up there to be able to
Yes.
function and operate
Yes,
unobstructed.
correct.
We gonna be assisting.
For the, if you want to, Jackson is,
Yeah, that's Nick talking to Bill.
sorry.
Sorry.
Planning Commission.
Just try to address the chair when you can with that, just so
Yeah,
we
that's
can,
fine.
we can funnel it back out, 'cause we wanna make sure we don't miss. I don't want any doubt of who said what at any time with this,
That's
so.
fine, yes, yeah, Nick.
Nick with the planning commission, I just wanted to mention that we had been working with Fair Board before and have been working with these bids, so I was asking if we would also be moving forward with Mike and.
We'll keep you involved, bill and maintenance.
Okay, Gary Newbrower, I got a, correspondence. It's anonymous, you know, so I usually don't take these too seriously, but this one does seem like it comes from a senior citizen, and they are expressing concern about an additional $99.72 monthly fee for sewer line service. As a senior citizen on the homestead exemption, she literally broke down her bill, monthly service bill, replacement improvement fee, capital charge fee, tap-in for 5 year. If you can just look into this and see if this is correct and fair and honest, and see if there's anything, any input you have with, for seniors on the homestead exemption in regards to tap-ins. Whoever sent that, I wish they would've put their name, because it was very professionally and politely done, and we wanna help them. So if they listen in the meetings, I would normally address it, being it's anonymous, but I wanna learn from that, and hopefully there's something there you can add input that may help other seniors in the same boat. This is the week for it. I think it's a thanks, but I don't know, it's something from the public, and just talks about paneling, baseboard, and carpets, and I have no idea what it means, but your name's all over it, but no address or anything. I'll let you look at that and see if you can decipher what it means.
No idea.
No idea. Lots of fans out there.
Does that have an address to it?
Yes,
Can I see the address?
you sure can. So you might be a common fan.
Well, it sounds like it might be something that was assisted with our housing program.
That could be it.
And if it is, it's, like I said, it says thanks on it, and it's got her name on it. And it just says ARP claim, and it has those three things on there.
That is not an address I recognize. But,
Well, I'll take it as a thanks anyway. I don't know thanks for who, but thanks. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Ed Agler.
Yeah, Ed Agler, Director of Agriculture. Two things I just wanted to inform you on is, I don't know that you know this, Denny, and Marlo's probably forgotten it, and I didn't think about it till just recently. But, when you talked about security out at the ag facility, did you get a hold of Dee Dee about the Cortland Police gonna be there? 'Cause we talked about that. Or are you just doing sheriff's deputies?
All of the vote clerk, yes, there will be 2 deputies available at the Egg Center till 9:30. They'll be there from 5:30 to 9:30,
Okay.
permission from the sheriff.
Okay, good. And then with that also, something that I was referring to, you don't know, is, I do have security out there cameras. And I don't know if you knew that or not. I worked with the FBI. I have a good working relationship with the FBI, actually. And several years ago, if you remember, they came in, they helped me set up a complete security system. So, I've got active shooter program out there and security. We do have cameras. Now, the cameras, they videotape everything that's going on, because that's been brought up just recently, so I wanted to make that well known. And, from the parking lot to the inside of the facility, that loops every 30 days, so in 30 days, that'll be gone. That's the best we could do with the money at the time when we did that. But we do have that security system, and I think we have a good system out there also that I want you to know about. Yes?
I know we did, years ago, the active shooter program, at the we got a lot of new faces here, is that something we should revisit? I mean, I'm gonna ask our HR director.
I
mean,
think that's
I hate to
really-
even bring it
I
up
can't
because
believe
it's
I'm saying this, I know, but I actually, and Ed and I kind of spoke a little bit last week, just briefly, 'cause there was,
Alexander Bush speaking.
oh, I'm sorry,
Sorry,
Human Resources
and Mara
Department.
Campbell made some problems.
Alex, there was some, obviously, it was brought up last week. I'll just leave it at that because of some concerns within the office. So yes, I am waiting to kind of put my full recommendation together. But one of my recommendations would be that we actively pursue trainings. And I think I've even expressed that to our, risk management. Obviously, there's many trainings available out there through Corsa. There's literally a training on harassment and bullying, how to work together, how to be better together, as well as I think that we should do some safety training. Active shooting training would be a very good idea, because the reality is, obviously, we work with the public. A lot of these departments work directly with the public, and anything could happen at any time, especially in this climate that we live in nowadays, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, John Gargano, Director of Job and Family Services. We've had active shooter training at Job and Family Services with CSEA combined. Actually, we did it just before the pandemic.
Yeah.
You were there.
I believe I was.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
We had someone come in from, I think it was the Campfield Police.
Canfield.
Yeah, he was very
Police
good.
chief.
Yeah.
Him and I
Is that
worked
who we had
together.
when we
Yeah.
did it? Yeah, he was
Yeah.
excellent.
Oh, he
He's
was.
very
Him and I
good.
worked together on it.
And
I
he
didn't realize
took,
that.
he took like 4 days with us, because I have a large group of people. But he went through everything. So I think it's it's a benefit
I think
for
that needs to
everybody.
happen. It's been years,
Set it up.
it's been years. How long do you think, 5, 7 years?
It's probably been every bit of 5 years.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of new faces here.
Right.
You know.
And I'd be happy to set that up again at the Ag Center. If you wanna do that, we can do one here. I kinda took the lead on that, when we did it, because, I'm actually the one that got it started, the ball
Maybe
rolling for years.
With now HR, can HR take that over? I mean, 'cause I'd like to have it here.
Yeah.
Where all our
Yeah.
departments are
I mean, I would
allocated too.
obviously, yes, I'm more than willing
We
to
get
take
more
that over,
traffic
but I
than
will,
anywhere
Ed,
in this
We
kind
can
of
work
work with you.
together?
Yeah,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Yeah,
Because that gentleman was very
yeah.
effective,
Oh, he
and I
was
know
great.
that we
And-
really enjoyed that
And we've
training.
tried to have one here, but for a lot of reasons I don't wanna get into, it didn't work.
I know.
But I'd like to have another one here, we need to have one out there. And see, the one nice thing about having one out at my facility also is because, Judge Campbell, we worked on that also.
Yeah.
And so I've got a plan set up that again came through the FBI, that, that we incorporate the courthouse and the ag facility in things that I don't wanna get into here, but we could talk about. And it was a really good program that between Judge Campbell, myself, and the FBI, we got all this thing set up.
Well, it's only gonna be a beneficial program if we get everybody to attend.
Yeah,
I mean, whether the courts, everybody has to attend, because at the last one, I know it was 5 years ago, it was so thorough, but it wasn't attended enough,
mhm.
I don't believe. So however we coordinate that in the future, we need to get commitments from departments.
Well, and I will say, Alex, Human Resources Department, I will say, obviously, as much as everybody doesn't love trainings, there's gonna be a lot of trainings coming down the pike, because you do have a Human
Sure.
Resources Director now, and that is my goal, to make sure that everybody's educated on, where we're headed, what we're doing, whatever the case may be. So I think that we have more buy-in now, I don't wanna say it like that, but I do think that the board is very helpful in suggesting that everybody attend these things. So I think if we have one here, and maybe have another one off-site as well, there's a lot of people here in this admin building,
Sure.
or right across the street, or close. So I would hope that everybody could get here. If not, we could have both options.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's the world we live in.
It is.
And one more thing, Ed Agler, again, another thing that I wanna just bring your attention, as a reminder to both of you, I am meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers again on Thursday. We're looking at a home site for our project. It involves a pond and a creek or a stream, and there's a lot to this. And Thursday morning, I'm meeting with the, regulatory division person, as well as local Army Corps of Engineers and homeowners. And I'm very happy and confident that we're gonna get that taken care of, just like we did the one in Leavittsburg here this last year. So that's coming up Friday, and I'll let you know what happens.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for the good? I think that's a big thing, Maura, we just have to decide about next week, if there's gonna be, if you're gonna conduct a meeting here without me, which wouldn't be a
We're gonna attempt it.
certified public meeting, I guess, but if you want to just go over it, you know,
Oh, no,
keep
we
the
would
meeting
still-
as planned.
I'd still invite the press. We'd still put out a press release. Anybody
Okay.
could come, I mean, even if it's just one commissioner.
And then if you're gonna have the meeting Wednesday, that's up to you, but it was recommended to me that at today's meeting, if we do that, then we vote to name a, temporary chairman in lieu of me being here. That's something, because I asked that question, like, when I'm not here, who runs the meeting? And they said, you, the board could designate.
I'd be more than willing to do that, so. That's what we so choose.
Call of a vote of clerk, should that be a journal action if you guys?
I think I'll make it a motion from the floor, if that's something, I guess, that,
Okay.
yep, that we do. For lack of her being here to discuss it or whatever, I guess if you wanna do it, I have no problem with that. Volunteer to do that.
If I could, I would recommend that you make a motion from the floor and then nominate on the record him to do that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
Okay.
saying, but I don't have a counter here to see if she wants to do it, not wants to do it, or
Sure.
whatever, so with that, I guess we'll follow.
I'm going to add, Alex has 2 agenda items for me, and I have a correction on the fund number for Mr. Mariano, so I'm just keeping it in my head straight what I have to fix the journal for y'all.
Okay.
Okay, so that's,
And just a heads up too, if there is something I need to sign Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, get it to me tomorrow if you can, or Thursday if need be, so that I don't delay your process and anything. I will be back Thursday, and first thing I'll do is come in and sign whatever needs signed. Anything else for the good of the order? Spring's coming, things are looking good, the county buildings are looking good. Bill, thank you for that, I noticed that the other day, it just seems like we're moving along good with that. Flag across the street, any updates on, did we replace the flag across the street yet?
As far as, it's been replaced, I mean,
Okay.
I haven't looked at it lately, usually.
Okay, about a month and a half ago, I brought up, Gina downstairs brought up about the flag being
Yeah,
there.
we replaced it a long time ago.
That's replaced, thank you for that.
Yes. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Go ahead, Bill.
I did order, just for the sake of Trumbull County, I reached out to the flag lady in Columbus for the county flags. I ordered 2 more county flags to have on hand, not that we fly one outside. But I'm getting one of those frames, so we'll have 2 extras. Besides the one that,
Mr. Agler.
Mr. Agler has, and the one that planning commission has. So therefore, there'll be 2 extras here in this office. I don't know if you want more than just 2 on hand.
Oh, can you check and see if she can do just a color printout of one that I could frame for the office that I'll buy personally?
You want a flag itself, or you want something?
Even if it's something frameable, even if it's a picture of it or whatever, something that could
Well,
frame.
we have, that's on the website. If you
Okay.
go to the Trumbull County, Ohio website and type in county flags, you'll see it. It gives that explanation like that paper.
Gotcha.
We have to go down to tax map and see if they can make a larger one.
One last thing, I just wanna go on the record, talking about big ticket items, it's only a matter of time before this elevator is gonna be an issue. I wanna be ahead of it. We've gotta look at replacement of these cars, or if there is a way to refurbish or reinstall, whatever we gotta do. We can't be left with no elevator again.
The parts are ordered for the other one, $35,000.
Okay.
But we've discussed with Mr. Masaki, Schindler is a state purchasing agent.
Okay.
We don't have to go off a bid if we choose not to, but that's something. So,
It's a big ticket item, it's gonna be a big fix if we overhaul everything, but at the same time, I mean, these are the original, they don't even make parts for this stuff.
the motor upstairs is 1960.
Yeah, we need to get moving on that.
Yes, I mean, I'll reconvene with Jim downstairs.
Yeah, let's do
As soon as
that.
I leave here, and then we'll, what he says wants to do.
Okay. I'm definitely in favor of moving on that. The other thing, I brought up the last couple of weeks too, Commissioner Cantala Mesa went and looked at the bank building in Cortland, I went and looked at it. They reached out to Commissioner Frenchco going on 3 weeks ago. There's been a message hanging on her box out there to call the bank, president back he wants to give her a tour and talk to her about it. It's still sitting on her mailbox out there, so she has not, done it. Yes,
Shannon's got a little, I've actually emailed also,
you give him one also?
with no response.
Yeah, it has no response yet, and the bank say he wants to reach out to her to keep her in the loop. We're giving her every opportunity in the world to call him back and give her opinion. But I mean, 3 weeks and she hasn't even brought the message out of her mailbox. It's still clipped on there where you guys put it, when he called the day after I was there. So I want us to move forward. The health department needs new digs, needs new, things. I really think this building could work for us. I'd still like to move forward, try to strike some type of a deal, or at least move in that direction of getting us to the next step, in regards to that. You know, it's something I think could turnkey ready, and the health board is totally in favor of it, the health commissioner is in favor of it. Just, you know, we need to decide whether we're in favor of it, and if we move forward or not. And again, if she's listening, I appeal, call the guy back at least, and we want your opinions. You got the real estate background, she doesn't wanna give us an opinion, there's nothing we can do.
It is a nice building.
I think it'd be a good community partnership that expands our footprint. We already got the ag building right down the road, and it would be a ease of service to everybody there. If not there, we need to start looking other places. You know, I know our next biggest customer base is Niles, so we need to do something though. They can't stay there on Chestnut. That's, like I said, I've said before, second most deplorable building we have besides the dog pound.
I was reached out to by a realtor that, also, full disclosure, that wants me to go look at a building in Champion as well. I don't even know the address. Heard the meeting and said, we know the needs of the health department. I think at one time, the Board of Health, there were some board members on the Board of Health that looked at this building, that really liked the building. I don't know where that is anymore. I owe him a phone call back, so I will schedule that and do my due diligence and look at it. I know nothing about the building whatsoever.
Anything else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Second?
Mr. Cantala Mesa, Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Thank you.
See you all back here, whoever wants to come at 1:30.
You guys.
By the RPA.
Mhm.
And I have to meet you running. If you need any resource,